The replacement pictures, they actually sent 3 of them for some reason, even though we really only had a problem with 1. Seems kind of wasteful to me, but anyway, after filing a complaint with the Better Business Bureau, Art.com placed an order to replace all 3 of the prints. They eventually arrived a couple weeks later, and as you can see, I've got them laid out on the floor here, the original on the left and the replacement on the right. I don't have all 3 of them. I've got 2 of the 3. The good news is they are all now the same size. They finally got them the same size prints to be in the same size cropping and framing. But what's weird is if you look at it closely, you can see that that same size is actually bigger, noticeably bigger. Not just the framing and cropping, but the actual print scaling itself is about 10% larger square inches in area. We've got the original one was 9.5 wide by 28 tall in the cropping area, the image size, whereas these new ones are, for some reason, 10.5 wide by 29.5 tall, so an inch wider and an inch and a half taller. I'm not sure why or what the point of that is. One other thing that's kind of interesting, and I'm not sure what this means, is if you look at the colors, see, this is very ruddy and very kind of smooth gradations, not a lot of contrast. That was the original print that we had. Here's the replacement one we got. You can see it's got a lot more contrast, not quite as ruddy. Same thing over here. Here's the original for Night, and you can see that she's got sort of this reddish auburn hair and sort of a smooth shading, whereas this one, the printing looks more mottled and the hair is browner. The whole print is yellower overall, not as many warm tones. So I'm not sure what that means because they're both supposedly giclée prints. I haven't analyzed them close enough to tell if that's true or not, but if it is the color reproduction, one of them's off. I don't know if it's the original one or the new one that is more accurate. But bottom line is, these are really big now, and I'm not sure what we're going to do about that because our space we had measured, even the size we ordered was basically the maximum size we could deal with in that space, and now they're about 10% bigger, noticeably bigger, and they overcrowd the space. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do, but at this point we give up. There's not a whole lot we can do to fix the problem now. We've gone through 3 iterations of this. It's been several months. We've gotten the Better Business Bureau involved. I don't think we're going to return them. We do at least have 3 of the same size print now. I don't know if we can fit all 3 in that space. We might have to do 2 there and put 1 somewhere else. I'm not sure. And while I'm at it, I figured I'd also point out that even their catalogs, their printed catalogs that they send out, have lots of errors and mistakes in them. I mean, I don't know if everybody in this company needs to be fired and replaced or what, but even the people making these printed catalogs botch things up. For example, I was flipping through looking at the different prints they have, and we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 here. And I wanted to know who this trumpet player was, so I looked over here, and it says Joseph Beuys Guggenheim Museum. Well, I know that is not a picture of the Guggenheim Museum, yet it says number 5 at the bottom, and 5 says Guggenheim Museum. So if you're going by these pictures in this catalog and you're trying to match them up, you better be careful that you know what you're doing. This one says number 6 is Vogue cover June 1937, but number 6 is actually Guggenheim Museum. Number 4, I see the word Vogue right there, so that tells me that that's the Vogue cover, and it says 1937 at the bottom. But what they have here for number 4 is Vanity Fair, November 1935, which I can only assume is perhaps this trumpet player here. So I don't know what the deal is. That's 1 page of mistakes. There's more. Here I've got this ashes and snow photography part right here. And how are you supposed to know this is 1, 2, 3, 4, but how are you supposed to know which one is actually 3 when over here they've got 1, 3, 3, 4. They've got no 2 listed on the side. I mean, these are just simple editorial proofreading mistakes that shouldn't really be in a catalog when you have to match numbers with pictures.